Yeah, Thanksgiving came late.
Is that right?
You slap tariffs on cement, you want to see building costs.
That's the way they meant.
Drywall, block, concrete,
Property. Is there just no plants?
So I think all the people out in the lobby were.
There's just more plants outside. Yeah, they just, I can't remember what the ratio is, but yeah, we just don't have enough.
Is it the lime? What is it?
They have to have limestone.
I'm gonna watch Marcus Steve's.
Yeah, it's funny, there's one in Arizona, there's only 3 in Arizona. Only one south is in Tucson.
My little
In New Mexico, there's only one, and it's in Albuquerque. And we've just relied on importing it out of Mexico. It's like they come in through El Paso and El Paso on trains, timber stuff. So, what, 40 years ago, whenever Bush Senior was in office, the cement guys went and bitched to him, and he threw a bunch of tariffs on cement because they were mad at Cemex for dumping cement. So they went and bought everybody out. Now they're the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
So which ones are your kids? Who's their name?
George and Stephen.
George and Stephen?
Yeah. George has been back about a year. Stephen just been back about 3 or 4 months.
How you doing, bud? Morning.
Morning. That's the plan anyway.
Sir.
How are you?
Good morning. Good, good, good. Good morning.
This is
Merry Christmas.
them working more.
Sure, yeah.
Good morning.
Well, we're getting close to that.
Good, good, thanks.
Probably about 3 or 4 years away, but ready to start. Letting the kids run, you know?
It's just too much. I can't control anymore.
9 o'clock, let's rock. 9 o'clock, let's rock. Yes.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If you,
Like if you have to recluse it.
okay, and use a gavel, so you can't vote, so does it count?
Yeah,
Hand me that
you
gavel.
would.
And so we could be out of line.
We've got plenty though.
There we go. He was gonna ask Steve, he asked me, and I said, yeah,
I would think it would make sense.
Yeah, that silver outfit, they're sucking.
you don't have the votes,
Yeah.
Doing half of what Graham County.
because I'm thinking last week, wasn't there like a unity class that was uncertain?
Yeah, but it's cold in the morning.
It was all separate though.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
This is where the meetings I, you know, I'm over, they don't, they always want to vote. They're not so involved in the community.
Right, right.
Wow.
And they just have a program on the internet. I think they get 20 years.
Johnson Camp there?
Yeah, it's called the.
Is free
So there's two, Tim's out is gold. She just says so. So that'd be nice for us.
I was like, hey, they're gonna.
This one, 9
Yeah.
and 10's close.
Well, from since the what was it, the
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of movement to take place.
Nature Street, you have this many people in here.
Trump's coming back in office, so people can be hustling, you know?
This year, we did the last bit. Was the Song Battle.
Right.
And that was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the price of
Never,
fuel
ever,
getting
it
cut
just
now
seemed
is
like,
gonna help,
huh?
help a little bit with everything, you know? You know that's gonna happen.
But that's good. Because they see. And they can ask questions.
Good morning. I'd like to call this county planning and zoning meeting to order. Thank all of you for being here. Thank the commissioners for taking time out of their schedules this morning as well. We have a quorum. And we're now to item 3. Have you commissioners had an opportunity to review last month's minutes?
We have, and I'd like to make a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Just a few guide rails for those of you who are here. We will be hearing items, and some of you will be speaking to or interested in those items. If you want to speak, then you'll, there's papers there at the back on the table. You fill that out, give it to one of our staff members. They'll bring it up here and you can speak to that item. If you do come up, you'll come up to the podium, state your name, and then you will speak either to the commission or to Mr. McGoy, but you won't speak, there will be no dialogue between other members of the public while you're making your comments. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and start into our business. Item number 4. REZ 916-24, APN 103-28-021. 4.3 acres. A request was made by Travis Palmer to rezone from CN Commercial Neighborhood to CM Commercial Manufacturing. The owner of this property has given Mr. Palmer power of attorney to make this request to facilitate building a shop to repair copper anodes for Freeport McMoran. Site's address is west of Highway 191, south of 40th Street. McGoy.
Good morning. Thank you guys for showing up. I know Christmas is here and who wants to come do this, but appreciate it. Our first rezoning is partially due to a mistake on our part. Initially, this property was shown as zoned CM, which is what the owner bought based on what we told him by our website. And we told him, yes, you can do what you want under that zoning, and then we found out that it wasn't properly zoned on the website. So this is a necessity for them to go forward though, and they've been pretty good about it. This property is a small, I think it's what, 4.3 acres. I didn't realize it was that big, but it's going in, they're asking for CM. They want to do, it's not really a manufacturing, it's a, as I understand it, it's heat and hammers. It's physical labor to repair these anodes, but they've been doing it from Tucson and would like to get closer to their customer. And I don't know if is the applicant here? I don't think so. Anyway, that's the situation we're in. If you have any questions for me, I don't really know. They're going to access this off of 40th, which is not yet a street, but the county intends for it to become another entrance into Desert Hills at some point, and so they're going to make an entrance there and then come in off of it, was the last thing I heard. Now that's subject to change, but like I say, if you've got any questions on it, I'll try to get you answers.
See you from the commission. Is there anybody else here to speak to this particular agenda item? None?
Make a motion, move forward, John.
Forward with a positive,
Yes, favorable.
favorable?
I second that.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. This next one will require a recusal of the applicant, and
Okay,
do you want to come present it? Yeah, let's do that.
let me read it in here. Okay. Item number 5, REZ 917-24, APN 103-26-001, and APN 103-23-021, 250 acres combined. A request was made by Tri-County Materials to rezone from A, general land use, to RM, multifamily residential. Tri-County Materials would like to facilitate multifamily housing. Cite its address, south of Discovery Park Boulevard, east boundary of. Go ahead, Pete.
Peter Velasquez, 1612 South 12th Avenue. I represent Tri-County Materials. So this area starts here. This would be 8th Avenue all the way through. And we've already had this piece zoned for, I don't know, 25 years for an RV park, and we've never been able to do it because we've never had sewer. The city is going to bring sewer right here to Discovery Park on that 8th Avenue for their new park, which will then open up this property for sewer, which will then provide an option or a place we can do multifamily housing. It's high desert, it's not farmland. I think it's a really good place. We can put 8th Avenue all the way through, 40th Street will go through, and then this will open up this whole Desert Hills area, better access back to town. I've got most of the road already built this way when they put in the reclaimed water line. And so there's already a reclaimed water line that runs out to the fairgrounds, and we have all the other utilities already there. Any questions?
So will part of your ingress egress be off of 40th?
I've talked to the county and I'm open to giving them the roads. 40th would be here, we tie in right there. And then 8th all the way through. And then I also have, what's it called? It used to be Morris Lane and now it's 34th Street. Right there, we own that. We're gonna give that to them and run out. We'll work with the city of Safford to create an intersection right there, and it'll all be on the grid lines like it's supposed to.
Peter, I understand city's bringing sewer to that park they're putting in. Do you know an approximate timeline when they're gonna cross the road and
They
continue
just turned the
south?
bid out. Lance is sitting there. I don't know when it'll be finished.
Okay.
And it's a full-size line, right?
How far south is that coming, Lance?
Is he gonna let you use that reclaimed water?
I hope.
Any other questions?
Is that the only way that's gonna be in and out of that project there, is off of Discovery Park?
Well, yeah, you'll have 8th Avenue, and then you'll have 34th Street, and then at the other end, you'll have 40th Street this way. All of this over here, this is the retention dam. There is no road to the west. There's, they've never been able to get that road through from, what would that be, 20th South, where the water tank's at? That's coming on this side, and from what I understand, way over here, that will never happen because of Indian ruins or something up there.
Are you leaning towards a trailer park or?
We're open for anything. I don't know. I'm more looking for people to invest or partners in it. I'm not planning on doing all that myself. But I feel like that's our biggest problem in Safford or Graham County, is that there's no big place that is already pre-zoned, has utilities for these developers to come to, right? Just like this guy buys a piece of land, has to get it rezoned, it's not right. I mean, I'm hoping to facilitate drawing more developers into town to do something.
And this has been a plan for a long time. This isn't
Oh.
anything you'd come up with a couple years ago. It's
Yeah,
been
this is,
years.
well, we've owned the property since 1985 when my father-in-law bought it from the Morrises.
And it was part of that original purchase. Paid a lot of Graham County taxes on it.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Is there anybody speak to this from public? Seeing none.
I'll make a favorable motion.
And I'll
To move
second
forward.
that.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I've never done this before, but can I switch the agenda around a little bit? We got,
What do you have in mind?
well, we've got two issues here that I think are gonna get tabled or something. I thought maybe there's quite a few people here to speak to them and they might like to be released.
Okay, which items are you looking at? I know one of them.
Item 10 for sure, and item 9 and 10 both.
Okay. I'll need a motion to do that.
Yeah, if we
I
could,
make a motion, we change the agenda.
To
Second.
move 9 and 10
Yes.
forward to now. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
okay, if we just go to item 9, I think would be the proper place, and
Okay, I'll read that in. Item number 9, REZ 921-24, APN 106-07-002A, 21.2 acres. A request was made by Kim Gifford with a power of attorney to rezone from A general to R-MH residential manufactured home. Ms. Gifford represents Justin Wyatt, who would like to build an RV park. Site address is west side of Highway 191, north side of Ross Road.
Kim, would you come just update us on where you're at in this?
Thank you for moving that up because I don't want to waste people's time. My name is Kim Gifford. I had proposed, we've been investigating this lot for a few months now. Just found out late last night, ADEQ is going to require us to put in $1 million nitrogen recapture system to do this because there's no sewer lines out there. And so even though we're only putting in a total of 35,000 gallon tanks, they're still going to require that. So we are going to table this project. We're not going to move forward with it at this time. We are going to move forward with the purchase of the land though, and we will be resubmitting at a future date because we're moving to our Plan B.
Tabled it. Okay, motion to table. So,
I make a motion, we table where we go.
Second.
do we put a time limit on that or just,
It's gonna have to be reapplied for. I don't think it's gonna be next month, so
indefinitely?
we've already,
I just understand that we have to kind of quantify, even if it's, so.
you're welcome to, I just don't want you to deny it, because then it couldn't be reapplied for within the year if she found a way to get around that $1 million system. So
Okay,
just,
Need a motion.
like I said, it's gonna have to be reapplied for because we've already spent the money to notice it and put it in the paper, so they're gonna have to start over, so that really doesn't.
I'd like to make a motion to table this for a year,
up to a year.
up to a year.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, item 10.
Kevin. She would like, Kim, Kevin England right here would like, you two get together and talk about that, please, before you leave. Thank you. Okay, item
Okay, item number 10. REZ 922-24, APN 114-19-030B, 3 acres. A request was made by Howlings Camarillo LLC to rezone from A General to RMH Residential Manufactured Home. Howling Camarillo LLC would like to put in an RV park for company housing. Site address is 26505 South Marinette Avenue, Wilcox, south of Nature's. This item has been tabled until sale is finalized. Further notice will begin at that time. Entertaining motion?
Yeah, please. This one is, the situation here is that the buyer has applied for this and we asked him to get power of attorney. The seller said, wait till it closes. So this one may actually happen in a month, so I would table it for a month rather than indefinitely. And then that gives the people in the hallway and Wendy here all came to hear this and we didn't have time to get an extra letter out telling them it wasn't gonna happen. So let's just run it through the same process we just did.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to table this agenda item for a month.
I'll second.
Until February.
Okay.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries, thank you.
Sometimes I shouldn't be the one up here talking because some other people know more about it than I do.
Okay,
Thank you, Wendy.
thanks.
Okay, you can go back to your agenda as
I think
Lined
we're
out.
back to item number 6.
correct.
Okay. All right, REZ 918-24, APN 106-20-306B, 0.49 acres. The request was made by Artesia Estates to rezone from RR Single Family Residential to RM Multifamily Residential. Artesia Estates wants to build a duplex, site address, north side of SUNY Drive, west of Yavapai.
This is maybe a misunderstanding between a buyer and a seller at one point, but when Artesia Estates LLC bought that parcel he's got highlighted, I think they bought both of them. They thought they were both zoned multifamily, and in reality, the one on the left is and the one on the right or the one on the east is not. And they would like it to be. So they've got a duplex on the one to the west, and they would like to put a duplex on the one to the east. Very similar to what they've already got there. They are outside the subdivision. Even though they're surrounded by the subdivision, they were never a part of the subdivision. So that's what allows them to split and reconfigure and rezone. And
Steve, is the parcel that already has the current duplex, is that just shy of half an acre as well? Are they both about the same size there?
yes, they are. They're both they're both half acre, and the zoning requirement for both requires 20,000 square feet, which is less than a half acre. So they're both compliant. If she'd like to speak, that'd be fine. And if you got something to add, come at it, because I may not really know what you want to do.
Hi, my name is Sawyer Barnard. I'm here representing Artesia Estates LLC. Steve pretty much covered it. It was they purchased both parcels, understanding that both were multifamily. Only one was owned multifamily with an existing duplex. On the other site, we would like to build something very similar. At minimum, a duplex. At maximum would be a fourplex. We're thinking a duplex is what would be able to fit out there. They would really like to improve the surrounding land, and in order to do that, we would need to cash flow the property at a higher rate. And so that's what's really driving the desire to rezone and to get another duplex out there.
Any questions?
I have a question for Steve. Steve, there's adequate space there for a duplex, obviously, because the one next door has a duplex, but a quad, there's not room for
That,
enough septic.
that would
there.
all be hingent upon septic.
Right.
If they can fit it on the property with the proper setbacks and can qualify for the septic system and the reserve system, it would be allowed under this zoning.
Right.
But I would be surprised if they could pull it off, but they're welcome to try.
That was the purpose of my question. You probably know that as a developer, but just leading into that. If you can't make it without doing a quadplex, just know that, but a duplex, you're probably gonna be fine.
Is there anybody to speak to this from the public? Seeing none?
I make a motion to move forward with the approval.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7, REZ 919-24, 10-acre portion of APN 107-58-001, 373.5 acres total. A request was made by Lance Layton to rezone a 10-acre portion of this parcel from A General to CG General Commercial. Mr. Layton wants to change a portion of the parcel into an event venue. Situs, address, portion surrounding the barn south of Solomon Cemetery Road, northwest corner of parcel.
All right, this is something that we instigated. We heard that there were weddings going on out there, and after having done the Star Barn and the Laytons, we sent them a letter asking them to get in compliance. At first, they're like, well, this is just family, and, you know, we're not really doing that for a business. But in talking to them, they came in, actually she came in and we talked, and she said, well, yeah, let's go for it, and we might could make a nickel on this. And in speaking to them, I'm kind of jumping forward, but in speaking to them, they asked the question, can we have some RVs out there? Some people want to spend the night. They come out and decorate, and they don't want to leave their stuff there. It's kind of the middle of nowhere, and they were not so trusting. So, and then I brought up well, if there's a wedding there and somebody wants to spend the night instead of driving home in a condition that shouldn't happen. So that's why there will be a second zoning hearing outside of this. But that barn, which they call the onion barn, apparently it originally stored onions, is the piece that they're wanting to turn into a venue, and then to the east of that, they'll ask for something else here in the next one.
I'm imagining there's adequate parking out there. Yes, I've never been out there, but I'm assuming with that amount of acreage.
They've got quite a bit of flat ground right there down in the bottom below the mesa. That there's probably 35 acres there that could be parking lot if you cleared it. They have no intention to getting that big, though.
I don't see an issue.
Any other discussion or questions? Is there anybody to speak to this? Seeing none, or go ahead.
Is there a limit on how long they can leave the vehicles there?
The vehicles, as in?
I mean, can they park for the rest of their life? Is it gonna be like for 48 hours?
That's a question for the next zoning hearing. This wouldn't have any bearing on that, on this zoning.
I move that we send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Supervisors on this
Second that.
matter.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, this is a follow-up on the one we just did, item number 8. REZ 920-24, 15-acre portion of APN 107-58-001, 373.5 acres. A request was made by Lance Layton to rezone a 15-acre portion of this parcel from A General to RMH. Mr. Layton would like to change a portion of the parcel to allow RV spaces for future development. Situs address is portion east of the barn, south of Solomon Cemetery Road.
Okay, back to Kay's question. This, as you can see, Mark's got a map up there that kind of shows you the parcel itself is huge, but that blue is a 10-acre parcel that you just dealt with, and then this gold color is the 15 acres that they might want to put RVs on. Now, what she told me was 3 to 5 would probably be all they would do, and she didn't want to get into the big development of, I mean, she doesn't want to run an RV park, but she wants to have it available to the customers of her event. So, and being that if approved, the plan and everything would have to come back to you just like Tom Palmer's did last month. So you would see this again, but you might see it 2 or 3 times before it actually involved a 15-acre RV park. I don't see that happening, but I do see 3 to 5 spaces and possibly a bathroom and a septic system, because they probably need a bathroom there for their events anyway. So that's kind of what they have in mind, but this gives them room to expand if they want to later. But you would see it if they did.
Steve, I got a question. Nobody has any lawful jurisdiction. We've just approved for the Star Barn to be used as a community event spot, but nobody has lawful authority to tell them they can't allow somebody to stay the night on their property for a night or two with their RVs, correct?
That is correct, and we probably would never know, but she just said, I don't want to cause problems, so if this will help, let's do it.
Right. My opinion is we don't move forward with rezoning it, because what she's trying to accomplish she can do anyway, because nobody has any lawful authority to tell her no. I think we're opening up Pandora's box, because there's no infrastructure out there at all for any kind of an RV situation.
Well,
if they ever choose to move forward with an RV situation, then let's come back and look at it. But what she's trying to accomplish at this point, she can accomplish without a rezoning.
With one exception, that's true. There is water available, and in order to get a septic permit, they would have to be zoned for what they're doing. They couldn't put a septic system in. You know, they could for the event venue, and then if you strictly look at the law, you can't have, this is all in one parcel, so it's just in two different, would be in 2 different zonings, but you really can't cross over and use this septic. If they were to separate them and make them businesses or sell them or something, they couldn't, they'd have to have a separate septic system for the RV part of it. We don't allow RVs to camp out basically, without a septic system. We won't give you a permit for an RV unless you have a septic system. For them to spend the weekend, we'd probably never know because we don't work the weekends, but, and another thing that got brought up by, I don't remember who brought it up, but this could be used, this could be brought forward as a use permit type situation attached to the venue. This is just one option, and it was the easiest and to get it brought forward.
Now, when you say a septic system, Steve, are you talking about some permanent structures with the bathroom attached, or are you talking about a septic system that these RVs dump into?
It would end up both if they put it all on one system, and they could, because it is a single parcel. If they tried to split them apart, they'd have to put in a second septic system.
So the
don't
venue
know.
doesn't have a septic system at this point either?
It does not, and I only know that because at the last wedding they had out there, they had Scarborough bring porta potties. So I'm actually judging and don't know, but
Sure.
he brought a hand washing station and two porta potties.
As we just heard from the other one, though, ADQ it's never going to turn into a giant RV park.
Right.
There's no sewer out there. There's nothing out there.
They do have water available,
Do
but
they have power?
Their
There's-
power will be near because they have that feed lot up on the hill. And then there's also some infrastructure on the canal there that I believe has,
there's some wells there along the canal that have power, I think.
so it's not terribly. So they have water they have water either their own. Or they can, power, so they have.
Yeah.
For the venue as well as.
I'll make the motion to move forward with it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Carries. Thank you. All right. On our way to item number 11. REZ 923-24, 16-acre portions of APN 107-38-0078A, APN 107-30-4047D, APN 107-30-047G, 183.7 acres. A request was made by the Quantz Family Trust trustees to rezone about 16 acres along the road from A General to RM Multifamily Residential. Quantz Family Trust would like to bring this property into compliance for the family trust to be split as written. Situs address is 7317 East Sanchez Road, running along both sides of Sanchez Road.
That's, you've done a good job of telling us what needs to happen here, but this trust was written with I'm not gonna say assumed, but the surveyor who drew all this up under Dale Clonce's direction thought that it could happen the way he drew it up, but it's clouded by some laws of too many homes on not enough, and then not enough splits to make it happen. So we thought that we'd go to a judge and just get it dealt with, kind of like the Bowmans did around the corner. The judge says, let it be so, it happens, and doesn't have to comply, but they couldn't get on a judge's schedule, so we're gonna go this route to try to get these pieces into the names of the siblings as he wished. It just requires, there's some of the homes are too close to each other. They're not a problem as far as setbacks or septic system. There's just too many of them and no way to divide them up. So there's gonna have to be multiple homes on some parcels, and therefore it needs this zoning to make that happen. Most of it is along Sanchez Road, which they're in the process with their surveyor of handing that over. I'm going to say handing it over. The city needs it for a new water line. They need an easement or a right-of-way through there, and the county would like to own their road that they maintain. So the Clonsos have agreed to they're not going to just say you can have whatever you want, but they have agreed to cooperate in getting the right-of-way to that road over to the county and getting the city what they need to put in the new water line. And that will happen later as a result of the splits that this zoning will facilitate. I don't know if I'm making sense, but we've been working on it so long that I understand it, but I don't expect you to. But if you guys want to come up and say something, feel free. But if I explained it right, just tell them I explained it right. But if I didn't, fix it.
Yes, I'm Rick Klontz. I live on Sanchez Road, 7703 East Sanchez Road. My father was the one that set up the trust with my mother, and I've worked for 10 years trying to get this survey done the way my dad wanted to do the splits. And basically, the girls got all the houses and some other buildings, and I got the farm. So I got all the work, and they got all the renters. But, our families. And we do have several of them that have families in them, nephews, nieces. And so what we're looking at is just as easy as we can get this done with the understanding that we will not hold up this right-of-way, this easement for this county road that they've already had, but goes way back to Hamlin, the supervisor, where we're going to pave this and never got an easement. And it's this pipeline and maybe the Sanchez mine when it goes in and expanding the road, we're not going to hold that up. And we're just asking for you to look at this and say, this is one family. My sister-in-law's not here. Her sister lost her husband. She's in Washington. So she's part of this too, my brother's widow. And it seems like the family's not increasing as much as it's decreasing. So these issues we're trying to knock out of the way. But with your consideration, we'd appreciate you to look at this zoning and see if it's approvable.
Questions?
Like a family.
Is there anybody else to speak to this? See none. You have any other questions, Steve?
I'd like to make a favorable motion on agenda item 11.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have one item to be set up for public hearing. REZ 924-24, APN 106-26-558, plots 017 and 018. A request was made by Morgan Broderick to rezone 2 plots as part of his combined parcel from R SB residential site built to CN commercial neighborhood and CM commercial manufacturing. Mr. Broderick, like all the pieces of this parcel will be the same zoning, match and fit the current use. Site is address 768. It's Concho Street, east of US Highway, west of Brandon.
I move we set this up for,
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. Okay, Steve, any other business?
Something that probably should have been said earlier in this meeting is that these will all be heard again by the supervisors January 6th. Is that correct? Yeah. January 6th, so hopefully all the same group will come back for that. Also, last year we had a breakfast for this group because of a small meeting. I want to thank you for your year of service. And I'd like to propose that since the next meeting in a month is going to be meager compared to this one, that you guys okay with eating breakfast?
we can put it in.
Yes, we are.
We're also trying to get our legal counsel to answer some questions on recusing and that situation like we had at the last meeting where 3 of you had dipped out on different projects and how that should go down. I don't know that we did it wrong, or even today that we did anything wrong. I just want to know. And the question was asked, so I've forwarded that to the county attorney's office, and we've asked her for some training in that direction, and we might have that same time. I don't know. Let's see, what's next? I'll go over what happened at the last meeting. There was four of these things. One was denied, the other 3 approved. Rezoning 914-24 was a request to rezone from AR2 to AR1 for Cheryl Wall. That was approved on Thorn Lane. The rezone 915-24, 1.5 acres to multifamily for Philip Palmer was denied. And I believe that's what your recommendation was. And they were the board was asked for a qualification as to why, and Supervisor David gave a good explanation. His thought was that a duplex on a 2+ acre property was allowable in that 2 families would be on 2 acres, and the less than 2 acre piece that he asked for next was disallowed because there wasn't 2 acres for 2 families, and the rest of the neighborhood had that. So that was his reasoning in going along with you, was that had that been a 2 acre piece, he would have gone for approval. So just so you have that in your, and another thing that came out of the discussion on that was the board is advised not to come to these meetings, but they're going to start watching your videos, but they would like for you to discuss and voice your thoughts and your reasons a little more so that they can follow, why did you make the decision you made? I'm not going to tell you need to get deep into the weeds on this or anything, but they just thought it would be easier to follow your lead if they knew why. So that's been voiced and basically just on that one. But anyway, this third one on R&B partnership, wanting to put storage connexes on the property north and possibly some other services for his mobile home park. Passed with a stipulation that they couldn't put anything on the front of the lot within 80 feet of the center line of the road. So I'm gonna say that was based on the distance to the neighbor to the north, their front wall from the center line. They just didn't want anything protruding out beyond the neighbor, so that did pass though. And then the RV park review for Tom Palmer was approved with the stipulations you guys noted verbatim, so that's pretty much, our next meeting be January 15th at 9. Next board meeting is January 6th at 8. And I have nothing else except thank you.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Merry Christmas. Those two.
Well, they'll have their ducks in a row.
I'll tell you, that's